It's been a long day. Especially made long by the long-ass movie we just watched. But we'll talk about it later. After my review of Resident Evil 7, Biohazard.
My colon is a biohazard.
I know, it is. Blah, 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 made by Capcom. WoW, released January 26th of 2017 for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Oh my gosh, that was 7 years ago. Holy fuck.
Released January 24th of 2018 for the Switch. It was a cloud version because Switch doesn't run much of anything. And then re-released on November 12th of 2020 for PS5 and Xbox Series.
And it just came out on iPhone like last week, and it's shit.
And nobody's buying it.
It's real bad.
I've seen that it's sold like 10,000 copies or something. Like absolutely nothing.
Big doo-doo.
Yep. The story starts out with Ethan Winters getting an email from his wife. It has 2 videos. One of them, she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy with what I'm doing. I can't wait to come home and be with you. Ooh. And then the next one is like, oh God, I hate it here. My life is miserable. Don't ever come help me. Just leave me to die. And he says, nah, I'm going to go help her. So, apparently she'd been missing for 3 years. So he tracks her down in a place in Louisiana. I think that's their accent. I can't really tell. It's mostly unintelligible.
Alligator people.
Yes. He finds her at a plantation there, according to Wikipedia. And I'm pretty sure that's a racist term, but I can't confirm. Bless you.
No.
Do you sneeze every time I say a racist slur?
You wish.
This is fun. I'm going to test this theory.
Oh.
She acts super weird when he finds her in the basement.
She's got the sus virus.
She tries to lead him out or slash away. When things get really, really weird, she changes in like mood or demeanor and attacks Ethan while clearly not acting like herself, and then switches back to being a super sweet, nice person, and then switches back to being mean and hurting him.
Bro, that sounds like my girlfriend.
Sounds kinky.
Every woman is bi something. It's either bipolar, bitch, or bisexual. Preferably all 3.
Wow, so you're just quoting bumper stickers at me now.
Yes.
This is a very intelligent podcast.
When have I never not quoted bumper stickers? Wait.
He kills her in a sort of intro boss fight, I guess, only to be knocked the fuck out by Daddy. Ethan comes to at a family dinner with Jack, who's Daddy, and Marguerite, who's Mommy, and their son Lucas, and an old-ass woman in a wheelchair that doesn't really move. Sort of. I'll talk about that. Ethan is left at the table. He escapes and has to work his way out of the house and then get away. The house is a nice return to classic Resident Evil puzzle houses. There are different keys to find that help progress the escape slash story. There are a couple really cool shadow puzzles where it's like you pick up this weird shape and you shine it in front of a light onto a painting and you like make the weird spider shape out of a shadow out of the thing.
I love hand puppets.
It's really cool. There are also like puzzles that unlock better weapons. So like the classic Resident Evil, you pick up the shotgun and then the arms that were holding it in the statue raise up and lock the door behind you, and you have to put the toy shotgun back in its place to lower the arms and open the door. Whoa. Classic things like that. After escaping the main house, Ethan has to go through the lake or boathouse and fight Marguerite. After that, he goes through another building. I think it's like a shitty trailer, but it's like really big inside. I don't know.
It's the TARDIS. It's bigger on the inside.
To fight Lucas.
Ooh, redneck TARDIS. Redneck TARDIS.
We are tarded.
Yes.
All through these houses, Ethan is having a conversation on the phone with a woman, Zoe, who is helping him work through how to escape. It turns out she was one of the many people that were kidnapped by the Baker family.
Are they cannibals?
Probably, but I don't think anything is explicitly stated. The dinner scene is
Texas Chainsaw smelling ass.
Disgusting.
Texas Chainsaw smelling ass. You say dinner scene, and I immediately think, check, Texas Chainsaw dinner scene.
Yeah. It definitely is made in a reminiscent tone.
They used real roadkill in this video game.
Finally, after getting all the things and freeing Mia and Zoe, Mia's his wife, Ethan gets to escape but only has enough medicine for one other person.
Oh no.
And you, the player, have to choose who to give the shot to. Whether it's Ethan's waifu, Mia, or this lady that's been helping you, Zoe. The canonical choice, because I know that gets your rocks off, is to give the shot to Mia, the waifu.
Really? Who could guess?
Yes. I really don't understand why there's a story-changing decision right here. It's literally the only one in the game, and it feels out of place and like kind of forced in. Like, I don't understand why this is a thing. They escape on a boat. They crash into a crash tanker where the story of the true villain is discovered. There's a scary girl with black hair from the movie The Ring, and she was an experiment at an evil lab. She escaped. She was on this tanker when she escaped, and then she nestled her way into the baker's house and infected them with a mind-controlling mold that can also make people into tall, slimy, moldy monsters. Blah, blah, blah. Ethan finally fights her final form and is carried away in the strong arms of Chris Redfield, his actual true love.
Oh my gosh!
Chris!
Come on!
My neighbors are gonna come over here and personally shoot us.
I hope so.
Moving on to visuals, unfortunately, research shows that playing this on a PlayStation 5 is jank. I tried all kinds of settings and nothing fixed the jank. I couldn't even stream it because it's so jank. Something about HDR just does not compute with Resident Evil 7. Whether it's on the TV or the PlayStation, it doesn't matter. Nothing worked.
Weird. This is what happens when you re-release crap.
As previously stated, this is the... Oh, I didn't even say it. Oops. As I meant to previously state, this is the first Resident Evil game made with the RE engine. And for the most part, it still looks great. It's clear where the visuals have been improved from here. It's hard to describe how the game looks because people look kind of rubbery and there are a lot of flat textures. That's something I was going to harp on. It's like the first time you walk into the house, there's like pots of food and you open the lid and it's like a flat texture inside. There's a lot of
Call of Duty looking ass.
That in it? Yeah, that's a good example.
No polygons.
And it definitely changes in the next couple games that they released, RE8 and RE4 Remake. So, like, you can tell that this is their first time with this engine, but it still looks really, really good. When you get past that, when you get used to how the game looks, it sucks you in. Something I noticed, it's not a complaint, this game is very dark. You kind of have to / want to play it in the dark. Ethan has a flashlight, but that flashlight lagged, for lack of a better term, behind whenever I turned the camera. I kind of like this choice. It's kind of like turning in real life and having your wrist follow your eyes, and holy shit, it adds to the tension in the game. I jump scared myself several times just by turning around quickly and realizing, oh, that's a chair behind me.
Man, that pile of clothes in the corner is looking real spooky.
The gore in this game is some of the gnarliest stuff I've seen in video games. The opening fight with Mia, she stabs a screwdriver through Ethan's hand into the wall, like sticking it there. by the time he frees his hand, she started a chainsaw, which she uses to cut his hand off, like, mid-forearm.
Oh, is that when you put the magic goop on it and then you just stick your hand back on?
You literally cure it with one medical juice.
Love that.
Yeah, it's very funny. That was my introduction to Resident Evil. I was like, what the fuck? He just reattached his hand with medical juice.
Hey man, super glue does wonders.
Later, a dude's head is split in half with a shovel. Ethan gets some dental work done for free with the point of a sharp kitchen knife, and it's friggin' gross. I like that the gore, while really nasty, is still used sparingly in this game. It's not a common thing in the story that you get numb to. Moving on to sound design.
Is it crunchy?
Perfect?
Crunchy is good.
Question mark? The mold monsters are super squishy. Guns go bang.
Whoa.
The voice acting is incredible. There are lines delivered so well. I remembered how they sounded despite not playing this game for several years. In Marguerite's boss fight, I think it's like halfway through the fight, she's transformed into a weird, gross monster, kind of. She still kind of looks like Marguerite, but she's got like that demonic rasp to her voice. It's like taking over, and halfway through the fight, when you inflict enough damage to change her into her next form, she growls, "That fucking hurt!" And it's like ingrained in my brain, just how she says it. It's so good.
Okay.
And there are other lines like that, but that one sticks out the most. Even when nothing is happening, the house makes so much noise. Pipes rattle, floorboards are creaking, distant doors just slam. Even when you're trying to just take a breather in a clearly safe room, you're being chased by monsters, you run in the safe room, the monsters despawn, and you're like, and you still hear like, bang, a door slam like 2 rooms down. Like, what the fuck?
You didn't play this in VR this time around.
I've never played this in VR, and I never will. It's too scary. Like,
I would pay to watch that.
You stand still and you just hear floorboards creaking like above you, and it's just like, oh, what's out there? You're trying to just take that breather, and you're still on edge because the sounds are entering your ear holes. It's good.
I love ear holes.
Moving on to gameplay. I don't even know where to start or what to talk about. I was low-key running out of steam writing this review last night, but it's got so much of what... This laid the groundwork for what I liked about Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I guess the things that I liked about Resident Evil 3, the few things, and 4 Remake, like... It's using the RE engine. I love this engine. It looks so good. It runs really well. It sounds good. Like, they finally locked in on how to make a really good horror game. It just... nothing compares, honestly. I tried Evil Within a couple of times, and I just can't do it. No, it's not good design.
Be stinky.
I tried actually reviewing it on the show one time, and it's just like I can't play it. It doesn't control well. It doesn't look good. I love the house. I love the you need the crow key to get in the crow door, or the snake key to get in the snake door. I love that that returns. I love also that it's smaller than the RE1 house. It's really small, actually. It's smaller than the police station in Resident Evil 2. There's a lot less backtracking. It's pretty straightforward, to be honest. But it's still fun to be like, oh shit, I have the snake key. I can go to the snake door now and unlock whatever's behind there. And it's fun to have that reward of remembering that I can go back to a previous area now that I have this key. It's also easier to track progression and be like, finally I have the snake key. I can progress the story because that's where the next part of the story is. It's a lot easier to keep track of. I fucking hate the basement because there are so many spooky, tanky, mold goo monsters down there, and I get lost often. It still looks good though. It's good.
You know, there's another basement in another horror game that I quite enjoyed.
Is it the sex dungeon in your girlfriend's house?
That's a better answer.
I like that each member of the family has a theme. So through the story, you fight against Jack and Marguerite and Lucas. Jack is like, the first fight is in the garage because he's the dad, and of course this makes sense. You kill him with his car.
He throws beer cans at you.
He throws shovels. The next fight is in the basement, I guess, and he's coming at you with like these hedge trimmers, and you have to kill him with a chainsaw. Like, it's the most dad-coded thing. Marguerite and the lake house or boathouse or whatever it is like bug themed. You pick up eventually a flamethrower and you just kill all these spiders and like big ass bugs that I wholeheartedly believe exist in Louisiana. You cannot convince me otherwise.
They probably do in Australia.
They're like 4 feet wide and they kill you in one bite. And yeah, I believe that these are real things in Louisiana, and that's why I'll never go there.
I'm never going south of like North Carolina ever.
South of
DC's pushing it.
Yeah.
That's already a swamp.
That's a hellhole.
Yeah. Never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. Something. I almost fucked that up. That was close.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to Louisiana, but I'd definitely go to Tatooine.
Ooh.
But anyway.
I don't like sand.
Lucas is a shithead, and he's all about games and traps and stuff. He's got like...
It's Home Alone.
kind of, like, cartoony Batman villain mousetrap games that he's got set up. There's one that you actually have to go into. You play it a couple of times. You play it in a memory so that you know how to beat it as Ethan and escape it. But you are like trying to put a candle on a birthday cake, but it's actually a bomb and it explodes and it burns you dead. So that's kind of cool. There's actually a trophy to beat it in like less than 4 minutes or something, and I meant to do that this
Epic
playthrough,
prank Batman.
and I forgot. But yeah, he has all kinds of trip mines all around that you have to avoid or shoot and explode, and you're like getting chased by monsters, and it's like you're running and you're trying to keep an eye out for trip mines, and then you actually hit one and you just die in front of the monsters. It's done better than Resident Evil 4 Fight Me.
I ain't picking no fights with you. I want to live.
These different themes or different sections of the story, or I don't know how to describe it. It keeps the story fresh and interesting. It's not like Resident Evil 1 where you're just running circles through the same house over and over and over again. It's got different flavors to it, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward, but it's still like visually interesting. There's different themes to it.
Do they have different colored candles
For
the different sections? Maybe themed candles.
No,
I think that would be a good improvement.
I don't smell what you're stepping in.
The garage smells like bacon.
Let me talk about the old woman in the wheelchair.
Nice.
She's a jump scare a couple of times.
I would think.
When you first escape the dinner table, she's just sitting there and she barely moves, but like as you're walking around her, she'll kind of flop her head over, her neck kind of bends to like always watch you.
That's nice.
Which is kind of spooky.
That's like my least favorite horror thing. I fucking hate that shit so much. It drives me nuts.
The funny thing is, like, you'll be running around and you'll be like, oh shit, I got the crow key. And you unlock the crow door and you run inside and she's sitting right there staring at you. It's like, oh my gosh, what the fuck?
And this is why I will never work in an old folks home. Alan Wake 2 taught me that.
It doesn't even make sense that she's behind the locked door, that I had to go into the basement and dig through the toilet to get the key.
Don't worry.
But it's funny and I love it.
Creepy old ladies.
This game has menuing. I was low-key looking into speedrunning it because it's kind of interesting. You can beat the game in 4 hours allegedly, and I was like, oh, maybe I could do that. It's a shorter Resident Evil, and I'm pretty familiar with this one. But a big part of speedrunning is you pull up the menu by pressing triangle. Of course, that's been the standard for several games now, and you have a limited inventory space, just like any other Resident Evil game for the most part, that you can expand. But whatever you leave the cursor on when you close the menu keeps the cursor there. You don't have to open it and then flick through over to what you're getting at. You can flick through while you're running long hallways or riding the elevator or whatever. In those brief downtime moments, you can menu and then close it and then open it when you get to the door that you need the certain key for or whatever. And it's like, it's quick, it's reactive, it's really cool, and I really, really like that.
I like speed.
Yeah, it's like the smallest detail, but it's really cool. It really adds to the speedrunning community, and I kind of like that.
It's like when you found out that you could reload a gun in Resident Evil 5 by dropping ammo on it.
Yeah, just those little things of like Capcom actually tipping their hat to the speedrunners and being like, here's a little treat for you. It's cool.
Can I throw a car better in the ocean as a treat? Or
like even is it Halo or is it Doom that you can reload the gun by swapping guns? Yeah, I think Doom does it too.
Maybe. Doom is wacky, man.
I didn't like that key items didn't have the little checky mark saying that you could leave it in the storage space or drop it when you've opened all of the specific doors or whatever with it. Maybe I didn't open all the doors with a single item. I kind of doubt that. But like Resident Evil 2 Remake says, you can drop the spade key now. You've opened all the spade doors. And that's really helpful for limited inventory space. Healing items are bound to the right bumper or R1, and that was an interesting choice. You didn't have to open the menu up and use the healing item in your inventory. Like, again, menuing, like most other Resident Evil games, you could just hit the quick heal me right the frig now button, and it does. It takes a little bit of time. There's not iframes, but it takes time to whip out the healing item and dump it all over your arm. But it's quicker than most other Resident Evil games.
But do you have the weed spray?
It's juice this time. It's not spray.
That's nasty bong water.
Yeah.
You gotta bring back the spray, man.
In closing, this game still scares me. And this was my third playthrough. It has the secret sauce, despite having a pinch of jank. So like, I didn't talk about, right in the opening, Ethan crashes his car and says, this is where my wife is. And I turned around and there's like this bush with branches and leaves, and it's freaking glowing. It had the wrong light source on it. I don't know. That was like...
No, this is an obscure biblical reference.
That was my base for trying to change all of the settings. The brightness on my TV, the HDR on my TV. All right, put that back. The brightness in-game, the HDR in-game. Like, nothing. I couldn't get that stupid fucking bush to look right. And there were a couple other things. I noticed it was mostly like outside in the sunlight. And I'm glad they fixed that in later games. So maybe it's just, I don't know. It could be the compatibility thing. It could just be how this game is. It doesn't matter though. Like, most of the game looks really, really good. This was my first Resident Evil game.
Yeah, it's all been downhill from here, folks.
This is kind of a comfort play for me.
You are a freak.
It's awesome how it still gets me to react the same way I did the first time I played it through it. I played it in about 6 hours this time, Admittedly, it is a little short with a heavy emphasis on being, I'm familiar with how this game works and where most of the things are. Like I said, there's a trophy for beating it in less than 4 hours, and there's no way I'll be able to do that unless I repeatedly run it for like 3 months, and I'm not going to do that.
You should, though.
I got this game in 2018 for $15 or $20, and it's worth every penny. I will definitely play through this game.
Damn, it dropped
again.
It dropped that low a year after release?
I think so.
Wow.
I'll definitely play this game again someday.
Wow.
I like it a lot. I
will pay you $500 to play it in VR and let me watch you.
Okay.
Fuck.
I will take your $500.
Fuck, I'm gonna have to use the $500 to pay for the PSVR. Fuck. Regret.